Okay, so we're going to have a discussion on how we transfer football to the weight room or maybe keep the standards the same. So we're kind of running off of the logic that most athletes are visual learners, right? And
hmm
so which means that that's why everything is filmed, right?
hmm
So most athletes want to review the film before they make comments on how they played
hmm
because how you observed it from when you were playing and observing it from the film are going to be two different feedback loops, right? And so what we want to do is we just kind of want to go through film to kind of go through why we are selecting specific training environments or exercises, let's say, for the
hmm
lineman, which would be the sundial position, which is going to be for the hip, and then also for the prowler. Um,
hmm
so, so essentially, we're also basically running off of the logic that the athlete needs to be able to see the tissue to be able to find the tissue.
hmm
Meaning, like we're going to use film to be like, okay, see where this hip is loaded. You should feel your hip. If you don't feel your hip in this position, then chances are you don't have the prerequisite of a hip.
hmm Right. If you don't feel a stretch, you don't have a hip.
Correct. Like if your nervous system doesn't get sensations of a hip joint connective tissue at length, how is the nervous system supposed to generate force into that tissue so that you can block somebody?
hmm
It's not going to
Right.
happen.
Right. But as you're talking about what film and visual learning is, you'll take an athlete to a weight room, put them in a sundial, and be like, okay, that's you see that's your hip right there. And they'll be like, I feel that. But that doesn't mean he's going to feel it in his stance. That doesn't mean
Right.
he's going to feel it when he's run blocking. That doesn't mean he's going to feel it when he's trying to sit down a bull rush in pass protection. All it means is he feels it in the sundial in the weight room. So what
Correct.
what what we're trying to say is if you take him to the film room and say, okay, that's your hip. Right here is what I'm
Mhm.
talking about. You see the sundial there? See your leg in the sundial position? That's where I want you to find the same thing you feel in the sundial on the football field.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's
And
usually for
float.
me when I'm training guys, it's like you can see like, oh, okay, I got you.
Mhm. Oh, so you're saying that when you're watching film and you're essentially taking them through, like, hey, here's where you should feel your hip capsule.
hmm
They start to go, oh, okay, that's where that hip capsule in the sundial, I should be feeling it there.
hmm And it's always a process, but you show them the film first, go do the sundial. They're still confused. Come back the next day, look at the film, and be like, "Remember the sundial? That's what I'm talking about there." And they're like,
Mm.
"Oh, okay." And even when you put them on the prowler to use the tissue, you can see they're just trying to find it. It takes a process, but we're saying, okay, to tie it all together, take them to what they normally do anyway, and tie what you're trying to train into their film work.
Hmm. For sure. Okay, yeah. So do you have film work that
I'll
or
try to find
or
one here. Can you see that there?
yes.
All right. So let me just go with this one. So, I mean, you could almost look at everybody, right? But we got Sam here. I could almost stop it anywhere, but yeah, they're blocking him. So I'll stop it there. And I'll be like, Sam,
Which number?
you're the center here,
Okay,
67,
67.
right? And I think this is Alex, actually, Alex Barr, 64. But
Okay.
even him there, right? Like, so when he stops there, and I'll be like, Alex, if I put you on the ground and put your knee in the ground here, and we'll show, I'm sure in this video, we'll show guys doing the sundial position. But you can see oh crap, you have, oh, should I finally get rid of this black thing, but I can't. You have well, almost four guys in the sundial here, right? So if you imagine this is the
Mm,
ground here,
hmm.
right? And he's like pressing to the ground. He's trying to find this hip tissue, right? And you can see
Hmm.
it just repeats all over the place, right? Even the tight end is in a sundial position here, number 87. 73, his right leg, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're in the ground here, and this tissue right here, and I'm sure we'll show the Sundown and we'll show the Prowler and how we progression it. But there, that I won't touch it again. But you can see 65's right leg, 67, he's about to hit his left leg. 64 here, the guy with the arrows on, you can see that. That's the tissue we're trying to find there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm coaching him in the morning, I'm saying, okay, you're struggling with this block and getting movement. I want this guy moved backwards. I want him displaced violently, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
what is hindering from doing that? Okay. Well, okay, so you feel like you when you hit the ground with your foot, you can't drive through him, right? I want you to drive through him. Well, what drives through him? Well, it's your ass and legs. So now I'm gonna show you. Okay, cool. So remember this picture, right? Sometimes I even take a photo shot of it with my phone. I send it to him. I'm like, this is what we're training tomorrow. This exact thing is
Mm-hmm.
what we're training. We're training this. Rear hip capsule, all this tissue is what we're training. And we'll try to find it through the ground and through your feet, and we'll show the Prowler and the uh the sundial progression of how we do it. Right? It's usually
Mm-hmm.
sundial rotations, Prowler. Then we do bell squat walks, and we just run through that
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 times, right? Just kind of really training that tissue and putting that information into their central nervous system. This is exactly what you have to use,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if this guy takes one more step here. You can see 73 here, right? The right tackle
Mm-hmm.
here. You can see
Mm-hmm.
when he puts his right foot on the ground, that's immediately what he's trying to find,
Mm-hmm.
right?
His
You see
hip.
right here. Yeah, see, but it's almost you could argue if I stuck this right leg back, he put his arms on the ground, his knee here
Mm-hmm.
is in a sundial position again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I see it.
So he's trying to find this hip here, and they call it running through the guy, right? Run through your guy.
Mm-hmm.
We just
And
keep going, and just you can see it over, and it just repeats itself. And here Sam is straining on this guy to not get pushed too far and trying to catch him and hold on, right?
mm-hmm.
Boom, boom, right here, 65, unleashing his hips, change direction, and right there, there's the sundial. All this
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. So, and this is essentially how we reach the conclusion that the hip is a base joint that needs to get trained weekly,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
based off of the anatomical constraints of the hip or the anatomy of the hip, it's a rotational joint. So we're essentially putting them in a position, which is the sundial position, so that they can start to train rotation, which means that they're training their hip,
Right.
right? And,
And a lot of it was, as you know, because you did the assessment, but a lot of it was based off of Quentin Nelson, right? The way he moved, the way he
mm-hmm,
blocked guys. That's how we got the multifidus and the spine extension, and just looking at what the biggest, strongest guys and the best guys do
mm-hmm.
and how they move.
Yeah, for sure. So tons of hip joint space, right?
Hmm.
Really high functioning hip joints,
Hmm.
right? And so because it becomes like it's interesting seeing it from this level, right?
Hmm.
Because I'm watching 64 and which is Alex, right?
Hmm.
And it's like if you don't have hips, how are you doing this?
Hmm. Right. Right. And
And
then
then
and
and
then
then
and then that's when you get the knee and foot problems, right?
yeah, you get the knee, the foot problems, but then you get the low back problems too,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because it's everything but the hip. Right. And
Right.
so and so for why people, when people go, well, why is it that, in this system of training you're going to train the joint before the box squat? Well, we want the nervous system to know what the hip joint is. Or why do you do
Hmm.
the hip joint and the posterior glide before you do a deadlift? Because we want the nervous system to know where it's at, so that then when it gets to this level the nervous system engages, so that 64 engages, and then that engagement goes, oh, here's my hip. And now they're driving through their hip.
Right. And in just watching this film, you would say, okay, you know, Alex, 64 here. What do you feel in your left foot, your left leg right there? because I don't see a lot of force going through the guy. Right.
Mm,
I tell 73 here, okay, what do you feel in your right leg right here? Because here we're getting no movement,
mm,
right? Like we're getting nothing. We're getting nothing out of this. We're getting no strain. We're getting no pushback. So, and it's this is just one play. But if you see it over and over and over again, and this is always the problem. Okay, you put that foot in the ground, the guy does. I don't see really like. I don't see you unloading your hips into him and driving him backwards. Well, okay, then
mm-hmm,
we got a problem. That's what we have to train there.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And I just, we talked about this before, but I just walk around the building. I show the trainer, the strength coach, and the O-line coach, and I say, look, this is what we're training.
mm-hmm,
Nobody confuse him. And then of course, like okay, what's your injury history, and do we have to fix the joint first? And can we go right to training strength, or do we have to fix something, you know, I feel like an idiot telling you this, but fix internal training first. Do we have to do
mm-hmm,
that? Start from as you taught us, start from the bottom and work our way
mm-hmm,
up. And this is where you'll get into like where we talk about where the coach is saying, yelling, I need movement, use your hips, use your hips. Well, he doesn't have one.
right, right. Which, if you think about how frustrating that is from the lineman's perspective and the coach's perspective, use your hips, but his nervous system, he's got a dysfunctional hip, and his nervous system doesn't know where it's at. So how he can't use it. So you're
Mhm.
forced to go in there and figure and solve the hip problem.
Yeah, and we're using film work to try to tie it all together for the frustrated lineman and coach and trainer and strength coach and say,
Mm-hmm.
look, man, like this is how we're finding where the joint is a problem or what is a problem. And obviously, like as you know, athletes' feedback is critical, right? Like what are you feeling there? Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I did sprain, how many times have I heard, oh yeah, now that you mentioned, I did sprain my ankle 2 years ago. Well,
Mm-hmm.
do you have dorsiflexion? Does your heel, do you have pronation? Yeah, all the stuff that can you actually do what we're asking you to do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah, and so this is so it's interesting. So this essentially film is would we say that film is maybe the number one most important feedback loop for the lineman? It has to be.
But well, it has to, and it is no matter what they're doing, right? No matter if they're blocking. I mean, they always say the big eye in the sky doesn't lie, and what's on film is what you are. Like you can't bullshit the film,
Mm-hmm.
and that should go for everything you're
Mm-hmm.
doing, right? So, if a line, if, and I'm just talking. There's obviously like the training. Everybody is training everybody, but if you're trying to fix a certain problem that someone has, then you have to find it on film.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
Like
so
don't tell me that's my problem, and then you don't show me that on film.
right, right. So do we want to walk them through what the sundial position is?
Do you have
Uh
those pictures I sent? I
yeah,
mean, I could try to resave them.
yeah, do me a favor. Stop sharing your screen for a second,
Yep.
and I'll share this, which is let's see. Uh let's do this. This is so this is what Paul sent. We're gonna be able to. Okay, so this is one of them. So let me see. You sent me these. Let me upload what you sent me into this. So let me airdrop. Or do you have that sundial? Uh,
Look, just looking through it for it right now.
yeah, because the one of Sam, really any of the ones are a little bit better than this one. Just
Yep.
because people can see. But I'll kind of explain it here while you're trying to find it. So you
Hmm.
can see this is bent knee. So here's the spine, here's the thigh bone. We're at 90 degrees of bent knee hip flexion, which essentially puts the ball directly over the socket.
Hmm.
there's a cable machine over here. And so you can see that this ball is turning over in the socket, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
essentially that's the sundial position. Okay. What I'll do is I just sent the one that you sent me from I think it's Sam, but let me pull it up. So this is going to be from training. Yeah, this will be let me do this. I can share. So we'll go here. Okay. Can you see this, Olin?
Let me come back. Crap. Mm-hmm. How do I make my screen bigger? I can't see the shared screen, no.
No? Okay, here, let me try to share it one more time. Can you see it?
No, I cannot. I don't know what happened to my screen.
Can you see me?
I can't, well, no, I can't see you right now. But I'm
Oh,
like I'm hitting 100 buttons right now, so I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
you need to take three fingers and like
Yeah.
scroll to either the left or the right.
Three fingers on, oh, I no, the hell just happened?
You're because that'll take you to a different
There we
desktop. I
go.
think
I got you now.
you you got it. Okay,
Oh, I
perfect.
got you. I don't have
Yeah. Here, hold on. I got to reshare it. Boom.
there it is. Yeah.
You
Perfect.
got it.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to describe it real quick, and then we'll kind of
Hmm.
probably go back to that film, right? So right here we have band tension, right? And so
Hmm.
we're essentially training like this zone, so the anterior part of the hip joint capsule. So let me take we'll take the time. So here's the like this is what you're pointing out on film. You're going, do they feel this? And this
Right.
is the hip joint. And so the hip is at 90 degrees of bent knee hip flexion, which means that the body weight of so this is this Sam or PJ? Looks like
Sam.
PJ. Oh, is it? Okay. Okay. So it's Sam. So he's got a posterior glide, which means this thigh bone is driving back into this hip, right? So that he can feel a stretch in this hip joint. And then there's rotation. So I'm going to start to play the video and you'll see where he's rotating, right? And this is a really good video because as he's rotating, there's the pelvis isn't shifting. It's just straight rotation of the thigh bone relative to the pelvis. So his nervous system right now feels a stretch in his posterior capsule, and it's using red muscle tissue to rotate this thigh bone internally and externally in that position, right? So this is
Hmm.
training the fundamental joint motion of this of the hip joint, right? And remember, the hip joint is a base joint in Lyman special strength, meaning we're doing the. Is he wonder? Do you remember when this video was taken? When was he doing this? And
This is almost two years ago.
okay, but in relation to was this before like any type of
This is
like
this is
skill
before
work?
camp. This is February, March. So this would be like a recovery day. So it would be, we would pels and rails the sundial position and external rotation, and then do this. Then you do your rotations and then the prowler,
Okay, perfect. So
which
take
would
care
lead
of
to your
the.
positional isometric. Once you found everything and worked it and put that information to your central nervous system, now we're going to put you in a football position, and now you're training that way.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, perfect.
Mhm.
Okay, so you walked us through the position. So let's walk it. We'll just make it so essentially we're not making the assumption that the lineman nervous system knows what the hip joint is prior to
Right.
any type of training. So we're
Mhm.
essentially specifically targeting that position that you found on film. And we're
Right.
saying we're going to isometrically train there, and then we're going to dynamically train there. And then
Mhm.
after we've statically and dynamically trained there, now we're going to get the lineman into a position that he's going to get into a game setting where he has to
Mhm.
figure out how to generate force through his hip using his hip, right?
Mhm. Right.
And then that's where then you start to coach them basically in regards to the positional isos.
Right. Like
So,
find your hip there, right? Find what you just worked on there.
mhm. And so let me do this. And then you discuss the Prowler. I don't
Hmm.
have, I have the Prowler. So we're essentially one of the principles of the internal strength model is we want to train rotational stuff first from a joint perspective, and then linear stuff. And so
Hmm.
the linear stuff is going to be the Prowler. So it's probably pretty easy why you selected a Prowler, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. So it's
Like
just it just feel like it's really like they're not running the prowler, they're going through it slow, and they're just trying to find that tissue to move the prowler.
hmm. Yeah, this it's coming through. I just got it. Okay. So I think is this Will? I think this may be Will. Hold on, I gotta share it real quick. I know you can't see it, but let's go. So we're in prowler position.
Hmm.
You can see this on.
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, so I'll just play it and let you talk through it.
Yeah, and you can see it right there. We're just slowly trying to find this tissue there. There it is. And just keep coaching it, hold your spine, try to control your pelvis, but mostly just move this prowler, which I think this is LaCharles Bentley's Prowler. And it's a great machine, but elbows in, lock everything in, and now can you find your hip, just like through run blocking.
Hmm. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm gonna stop this share. And I'm going to go, and then we have the positional ISOs so that people can kind of see the sequence, right?
Yep.
So, where is it? Oops, that's the wrong one. Let me go here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so here's going to be, I got sorry, I got too many sharing. Okay, all right, so I'll play this one.
Hmm.
Whoops. I'll play this one and then I'll let you kind of talk through it.
Hmm. And then there it is. There's the just does he feel this is all we're coaching? Does he feel this tissue here? Right. And I'm just coaching him. Find the sundial, load this this guy's, the amount of force he's putting into you, try to feel that in that same hip tissue. You can see his leg is basically in a sundial position. He's just standing up. If I put the ground here, he's loaded there. Now, can he find this tissue and feel it? And any force he puts into him, he's just going to stay locked in, elbows in, stay strong here, and try to find your hip.
So essentially, what you're saying, just to emphasize it, is if we put the yoga block here, here's the
Hmm.
hip at almost 90, the thigh bone at almost 90, should be getting a stretch back in here.
Hmm.
So they should be putting effort into this stretch to use that hip to essentially perform this static hold right now, right?
Yes. Yep. And just whatever you need to coach them, right? Arch your tailbone, try to find that tissue, try to load that hip. And then that's just over and over again. We're just feeding that information and then it's back to the film. Okay, like you see where your hip is here. Okay, back to doing this. And we're just training that the whole time.
hmm Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, I think that should give people an indication as to kind of how you're using the film to essentially
Hmm.
select those exercises, and it gives them a really easy sequence. You mentioned that this footage was taken on recovery days.
Hmm.
Okay. And so recovery days is going to be a day where we're not pushing to acquire like neurological output. Like we're not doing any max effort training or any dynamic effort training. We're going in there, the nervous system should be recovering from that type of stimulus. And essentially we're teaching literally like we're training lineman special strength in the gym,
Right, right. But
right?
and we're gonna use it the whole week, right? No matter what we're doing. If we train heavy, we'll warm up the tissue with the sundial and go train, whether it be a squat, a deadlift, whatever you're using, a Zercher squat, but you're trying to still find that same tissue. And it's just it turns into months of work on that specific area.
So essentially, what you're saying is they're not just doing the sundial position uh, on the recovery day, but they've already have done it on their max effort day. So there's a lot of inputs into the nervous system as to what this hip joint is, so that
Right.
that hip joint can actually, their nervous system can actually utilize it when they're being coached to block or when it's game day and they have to block.
Yeah, we're trained all levels of the hip, right? The joint, the white stuff, the red stuff. We're just training it constantly, and that way, when a coach says, coaches are yelling all the time, use your hips, use your legs. You have to use your hips and legs. We're actually teaching the lineman or whatever position that is what you are training in the weight room all the time. So we're just saying it over and over again, the same thing the coach is saying. And we're
Mm-hmm.
using the same thing the coach is using, the same picture, the same film. There's no confusion for the player.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can't
Mm-hmm.
access his hip, then we're on this assessment and then we're searching for where it's coming from, in the chain that is breaking down. Why can't he load his hip?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then, like you're saying, like that's a huge finding where it's like, once we get that finding, we're going to kind of be stubborn with that finding
Hmm.
until they can start to feel that hip.
Right. And as you've taught us, we have to fix that thing first, right? Whether it be his ankle, whether it be his toe, his big toe, something's wrong in his knee. Like his hip won't load if the
I think I lost you. Is that your internet or mine?
there it is.
Oh, I got you. Okay, last thing we heard was the hip won't load.
Yeah, the hip won't load if those other joints don't work, right? So just always looking for, the coach is saying I need more him to use his legs more through the defender, right? I need to get movement out of the defender. And I say, okay, show me the film.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I know what I got to train, and then I show the athlete, like, look, this is what the coach is saying. Either you get this or you get cut. Like this is your problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there's just like, okay, you have to get stronger, but where?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that would be, that would be an example of a guy who was okay, his hips and legs is his problem
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on film.
on film. Like we didn't
Yeah,
make it up,
100.
and his coach is saying it. Okay, cool. Your coach say, okay, show me that. And then like, okay, you just like we talked about on the film, we're watching the guy take steps and what body parts he's using, what is working and what's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, this is good. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Nope, I'm good.